Yo, what's up guys? It's your man Elijah back with another video, back with another predictions video. Today is July 23rd, 2026. Alright, again, today is July 23rd, 2026. And before I start this video, let me just say I do plan on posting more movie reviews to my channel. Okay, so just want to say that I did post a review to the Odyssey. I watched the Odyssey movie. It's a good movie. I don't think it's Christopher Nolan's best movie, but it's very interesting. It is a good movie. So go watch my review to the Odyssey. On my channel, I talk about the Odyssey and what I thought about it. I would see it again, but there are some things about the movie that I didn't like and I wish was different. But man, that suit, there's a suit of armor in that movie that I really, really love. Like, I love it a lot. But I've been thinking about the Odyssey movie for like the past 3 days since I've seen it. And the more I think about it, the more I like realize, yeah, it's a good movie. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, no, it's not as bad as I said in the beginning it was. But again, there are some things about the movie that I didn't like and I wish was different. But the movie is so long, man. It's a very long movie, like 3 hours. Most of it is talking. There are some cool fight scenes in there and some other cool scenes as well, but I did fall asleep here and there during certain parts. See, I had a lot of high hopes and expectations for the Odyssey, so part of me was kind of let down by it. But it's still worth watching. It's still a good movie, okay? But it's based off the book The Odyssey by Homer. It's like a 3,000-year-old story. And you have the Trojan War. So I remember reading the book back in high school for English class. We had to read it. The only thing about that book that really excited me was the Cyclops, okay? But yeah, so watch the movie and then watch my review to the Odyssey. But yeah, I do plan on making more movie reviews soon, okay? Like Obsession, Avengers Doomsday when it comes out, Dune Part 3, Clayface. So just be aware of that. I do plan, and if I don't, then I don't, but something I do plan on doing pretty soon is posting more movie reviews to my channel, okay? So stay tuned for that. Also, today is the last day of retrograde. Thank God. Seriously, man, thank God, because this retrograde has been so powerful and so just crazy. I do not like retrogrades. I just don't. I mean, they cause communication issues. You can't think properly. Cause arguments, more anger, delays, stuff starts breaking down. Now, there are some good things that happen during this time period, but the majority of the time with Mercury retrograde, it's just a lot of just bad things. So today's the last day of Mercury retrograde. So if you've been feeling off or having just communication issues or can't think properly or just old things and people and places are coming back into your life, or you having some arguments, or things are just breaking down, that's why. It's because of retrograde. So the planets and energy are affecting us, whether you realize it or not. But the next time that retrograde will be in effect is from October to November. Okay? But yeah, today's the last day. Thank God. So, and by the way, did you see the World Cup finals with Spain and Argentina? I'm happy that Spain won. I had a feeling that they would win in the finals. The first half of the game was very boring. It was. But as time, went on, the game picked up, and then You had the halftime show, which I thought would be a little bit longer. You had Madonna, Bieber, BTS, Shakira. They were all there. So I just thought the halftime show would be a little bit longer, especially by Madonna's part, because it's Madonna, and BTS. But yeah, so Spain won. Messi got all these free kicks. So I'm glad Messi and Argentina lost, man, because they won last time, and I'm not a fan of Argentina, country-wise and everything else. They say a lot of, racist stuff, I just gotta be honest. And, but, yeah, so I'm glad Argentina didn't win. Glad Spain won. Lamine Yamal, he's the next GOAT. I think him and Kylian Mbappe, those two are like the future. But yeah, so the game was pretty good. And then you had, Donald Duck out there. Then you had the president of FIFA, and everyone was there. Tom Cruise was there at the World Cup finals. So Jay-Z, Beyonce. So everyone was there at the World Cup finals. But yeah, the first half of the game was boring. Second half picked up, got better. But the whole season of the World Cup was interesting. And I really enjoyed the games that happened during this time period. But anyway, so let's get to the main part of this video, my predictions for August, and a little bit of September, and a little bit of October. Now, I did make a video on my channel called Watch This Video Before It's Too Late. Watch that video. And then also, guys, watch my video titled September through December predictions, okay? So watch those two videos. It's called Watch This Video Before It's Too Late, and then my September through December predictions, and then also my reviews to movies like The Odyssey and more to come, that I plan on doing soon at some point. We'll see. So this is what I see happening in August, and guys, I'm feeling a lot of just fire, a lot of fiery energy, and I don't see a lot of good things happening next month. I'm not trying to spread any fear or a bad energy or negative energy. I'm just giving you guys what is given to me, what I see happening from my spirit, from God. So I feel called to make this video and to spread this message, even though I didn't want to. I was trying to just nah, I don't want to do this. But I just feel like I had to do this just to, get the word out. But I'm feeling a lot of fire, energy, a lot of sadness, and a lot of attacks happening in August, okay? So number one that I predict happening in August, I predict that in August, that the U.S. will invade Cuba. Now, I've been saying this for a while, but I do feel like the time is now where they will really attack and invade Cuba, and then that could be the third conflict happening, in the world with the Caribbean. So I do see this happening pretty soon, and I see this happening in August. So the America-Cuba conflict could start next month, okay? And also that could put Florida in more danger, because Florida is only 90 miles away from Cuba. So that's not a good thing, because I live in Florida, but I'm more north. But if you're in South Florida, like Miami, even Central Florida, like Orlando, it could be a problem, it could be an issue if things get really heated and intense with the U.S. and Cuba. But yeah, I do see this happening soon, like the U.S. invading Cuba next month. And they've been having a lot of power outages lately too. So I see that happening. The second thing I predict happening in August is one of the main things I keep seeing. Donald Duck, all right, the Orange King, President Snow, Donald Duck, Trump. He's in a lot of danger in August and also throughout the fall, but him and people he's around, family, friends, associates, are in a lot of danger. And you could say he's done that to himself, but I'm just seeing what came to me was a lot of danger, like a lot of danger for him and others that he's with for next month. And there's a lot of enemies out there, but I'm mainly seeing this from the Middle East, from Iran, and it doesn't look good. Now, depending on who you are, you may want this to happen, you may not want this to happen, but I'm just sharing what is given to me and what I see could happen. But yeah, him and family and friends and associates, like, they're in a lot of danger next month, especially with the Iran war going on. And I think it's 12 or 13 days that the U.S. has been launching strikes at Iran. I know that there's been some soldiers that were unalive over there. I did see that. And then there's been some attacks happening in Jordan and Qatar, and they fully closed the Strait of Hormuz, and we have like 20 warships over there and all these like people over there. So it's getting really intense over there with the Iran war. And then Trump said he's gonna blow up more bridges and infrastructure and power plants, so making things worse. So yeah, things are heating up with the Iran war, man. And like came to me, man, like just him and others, they just in a lot of danger, like a lot of danger. Especially like what came to me was him, and then one of his, how can I say this? I'll say like progeny, children, I'll say that, are in danger as well from the whole Iran war conflict. Okay, so I predict this happening in August, that President Snow, Donald Duck, him and others around him, family, friends, associates, even children, are in a lot of danger, like a lot of danger. And you may see, I do predict that you will see more attacks happening pretty soon, next month, and also throughout the fall, but especially next month. But yeah, things are getting intense and heated. So, and also, I don't know if you saw this, but over in Iran, they made this giant mural of the White Castle of the house, on fire. And then, Donald Duck and his relatives in coffins. Like, they made this whole mural and saying that they're going to attack and take him out. So they're not playing around, man. Like, they're not joking. Like, they're very serious. And people saw this, said, this is horrifying. How could you do this? I mean, you can't really blame them, because they were attacked first. They had their family taken out, friends taken out, their leader was taken out, their bridges and infrastructure is being blown up. So can't really get mad. I mean, you kind of understand like why they feel this way. And they literally said at the Ayatollah's funeral. So the Ayatollah, they had his funeral. I think it was like for like 3 or 4 days, I believe. But 50 million people came to his funeral, the largest funeral in like human history. And they literally said at his funeral that they're going to take out Mr. So-and-so, and that they have to do this, and that they gotta get revenge. So yeah, man, it's getting very intense, very heated, and they want revenge, which I completely understand. And like I said, they were attacked first, and they are different forms of Muslims. All right, Shia Muslims are completely different. They think different, and different way of life, different way of thinking, different culture, You got the Persian culture, so it's just different. So yeah, they're serious about revenge and hitting back. So the second thing I see happening next month in August, I predict Donald Duck and people he's around, associates, relatives, they are in a lot of danger next month and also throughout the fall. And I do predict more attempts and attacks happening next month. So beware of that, okay? The third thing I predict for August is that gas prices will go up. Now, gas is going up now, but what came to me was like $7-8 a gallon, which is crazy. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but with how things are going right now, especially if things get more intense and more attacks happen, it could reach that point. But what came to me was that gas could reach $7-8 a gallon. So we in trouble if that happens. So what came to me was that gas prices will reach $7-8 a gallon. May not in the whole country, but in certain places. So in some states, it may be higher than others. So in some states, it may be $7-8 a gallon. In other states, it may be just $4, $5, $6 a gallon. Okay, but gas will definitely go up next month. All right, so that's what came to me. Gas prices will go up next month, so just save your money, and if you can, save gas, but just be aware of that. So I do predict that happening pretty soon. The next thing I see happening in August and also September is more attacks happening over here, more T attacks. So I do predict that more T attacks will happen over here. And what came to me was NY, New York, and then DC studios and Colorado. I don't know why Colorado came to me, but that came to me for some reason. But guys, like I always say, just listen to yourself, your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, then leave. Protect yourself, protect your energy, But just be aware of that, because like I said, things are getting intense, and I do predict that there will be more attacks, more T attacks happening over here pretty soon that will just shock people, especially if it happens in NY and DC studios. I definitely see this shocking a lot of people. And what came to me was that the White Castle, the house, could also be attacked. Okay, so there's a possibility that this could happen, especially now more than ever with the Iran war and Russia war and the Cuba conflict heating up. So I do predict this happening. And they've shown this in movies so many times of the house being attacked, like Olympus Has Fallen, White House Down, G.I. Joe. So they've shown this many times in movies, but I just feel like we're at that point where there's a very high chance of this happening like really soon. Okay, so I do predict this happening. The White Castle could be destroyed, attacked, and then Donald Duck and his peers and family and whatnot will be rushed and may have to live at the house in Florida. And I definitely see this happening. Okay, so they may have to leave that place and go to the house in Florida. So I see this happening. And then I do see a building being like attacked or destroyed, due to a T attack over here. So I don't want this to happen. I don't, but this was coming to me. I even had dreams about it. So let's give you guys a message. So I predict more T attacks happening over here. And what came to me was Colorado, DC studios, NY, New York. Okay, and also other places as well. Okay, and I do see like the White Castle, the house being attacked, and then them having to leave and go to the other location in Florida. So I see this happening. If it doesn't happen, that's good. if none of this happens, then that's a good thing. Okay, I don't want this stuff to happen, but you know, I'm just giving you guys a message. You know, so and I've been right. I've been right like 97, 98% of the time with my predictions for just the year and for the months and other things as well. So I've been right about a lot of things. So that's all I'll say about that. Not everything, but some things. All right. So the next thing I predict for August, and this is the main thing. Like this even scares me, and makes me like very nervous and just sad. Like I've been feeling this since like early July, I would say. No, like late June. Yeah, late June, early July. I predict that there will be a very high chance of a nuke. Yeah, I predict that there will be a nuclear explosion in August. Okay, a very high probability or a very high chance of this happening next month. I don't want this to happen at all. Like, at all. I don't. And where I'm seeing this happen is the Middle East from, you know, IS country, Israel. So I see them launching a missile at Iran and then just change everything. I also see another outcome, another timeline where the U.S. does it, where the U.S. launches a giant nuke at, you know, Iran for something that they apparently did over here, when really it could have been staged and set up from someone else. Okay, so I see these two outcomes, but the main outcome that came to me was, you know, from Israel in the Middle East and them launching the missile at them. If this happens, I feel like this will bring the world together and it will just pause things. Stock markets will definitely crash. It will be very scary because this hasn't happened since like, it's been 80 years? Yeah. There has not been an atomic explosion in 80 years since 1945? Yeah, 5. And it happened in August. It happened in August during World War II. With the when they dropped the bombs on Japan. It happened in August 1945. So the fact, if this happens August, you know, this year, that's crazy. It's scary. And again, I don't want this to happen. But if this does happen, like I said, it will bring the world together for a moment, and it will cause things to crash, stock market to crash, people will be scared. And I do feel like Pakistan, China, Russia, and other countries will definitely get involved. And Pakistan may launch an attack on Israel for them doing that, if they do this. And that's it. Like, there's no good outcome if this happens, like, at all. But I've been feeling this for a while, since June, and what came to me was August, that a nuclear explosion could happen this month of August and just really just shake things up and scare people and just be very shocking. Okay? I did have a dream back in June where it was very, very realistic too. I was with my family and we were like traveling somewhere, and we were at a restaurant, and then you see like this giant, like not giant, but you see like this light in the sky, and then the light hits something, and then you see this giant explosion happen, and you think the light is like a UFO or a star, and really it's like a missile. See, an armadillo came out. Yeah, there's an armadillo right now in my backyard. So this morning I saw a rabbit, and I saw a hawk, and then some cardinals. So now the armadillo's out. So it's definitely a sign. Definitely a sign that the armadillo. There's also a raccoon family that lives back here, and some lizards. But yeah, all the nature is coming out. Hey, I'm in Florida, so you know, Florida got everything. Everything comes out in Florida. But yeah, the armadillo just came out of the woods. So that must be a sign about something. But But yeah, so in my dream, the thing exploded. It's like a giant shock wave, and we all just went backwards. Everything was destroyed, and we were talking about it. Everyone was talking about it. Like, what just happened? What was that? Was that a missile? Was that a UFO? You know, what was that explosion? And then I woke up. So that was back in June. I had that dream. But yeah, I've been feeling this for a while now, that I predict that in August there's a very high chance of there being a nuclear explosion in August. And I see this happening in the Middle East, and this will be very scary, very catastrophic. This will definitely change things, and just crash things, and just bring people together for a moment, but may make things worse as well. So the main thing I see happening in August, what came to me, was the possibility of a nuclear explosion. Hopefully not, but we'll see what happens. But I've been feeling that for a while, so I wanted to give that message, okay? So the next thing I predict for August, I do see the Russia-Ukraine war getting worse. I do talk about that more in my September through December video. Watch that video. But yeah, I do see the war in Ukraine getting worse, and it has been getting worse. And I do see the US and NATO being involved, mainly the UK and Poland. So I predict that in August and also like September, that the UK and Poland will do something to get involved in the Ukraine war, or they'll get involved in the Ukraine war with Russia. So, which isn't a good thing, but I see this happening soon. So the Poland and the UK getting involved in the Russia-Ukraine war, making things worse, okay? And I do believe the Russia-Ukraine war is going to end like between this year or early next year. I do have a feeling about that, but I feel like the only way it ends is if one of them passes, like one of the leaders, you know, Putin or Zelensky. I feel like that's the only way it really ends. But yeah, man, it's really, really bad over there on both sides. Like 1,000 people are like dying, I think a week or a month. It's very bloody. There's attacks happening from Ukraine into Russia. So it's amping up. It's getting worse. But yeah, I do see that happening soon. The UK, Poland getting involved in the Russia-Ukraine war, and also maybe other NATO countries in the US. So I see that happening soon. The next thing I predict, like I said, I see a lot of fire and a lot of just not so good things happening for August, man. Even September. I'm just not feeling that. I don't want to spread bad news, but it's what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling. But that doesn't mean that good things won't be happening, because good things will be happening, of course, in August. But just give you guys what, the message. So see that happening. The next thing I predict for August, I do see more natural disasters, more storms happening. I do see a hurricane forming in August in the Gulf. There is a storm right now called Bertha, but it's going towards Texas. But I do predict there will be a hurricane in August in the Gulf. I do predict there will be a Category 4 or 5 hurricane in September that will go by Florida up to the Carolinas and Georgia. So be aware of that. I do predict that happening in September. A big hurricane in September, like Category 4 or 5, going up towards the Carolinas and Georgia. I see that happening. And then the next thing I predict for August, well, not really for August, but I'll say between August and October, I do see Greenland possibly being invaded or attacked by the US. And you gotta realize the midterms are in November. So Donald Duck, if he wants to do this, he would have to do it now, because the midterm elections are coming pretty soon. And depending on how things go, it may or may not work in his favor. for the Republicans and him. And if it doesn't work out in his favor, he can't really get everything done that he wants to get done. So like Greenland and having his face on Mount Rushmore and other things as well. So don't be surprised if the Greenland conflict happens between August and October. Don't be surprised. That's all I'm gonna say. But I do predict this happening pretty soon. The Greenland situation happening. But also, you know, speaking of Greenland, the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse will be August 12th. Yeah, August 12th. And it will be seen over Greenland and parts of Europe. So that could also be a sign that Greenland will be colonized by the US, okay, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens with that. So yeah, I do predict that Greenland will be invaded or attacked by the US pretty soon between August and October. And then also you have the solar eclipse on August 12th happening, which will affect things and change things as well. So the solar eclipse is happening soon. You have that. What else? And also I do have a feeling that there's going to be a shocking celebrity death that will happen in August. I don't want this to happen, but what came to me was a shocking celebrity death in August. Hey, Sam Neill passed away. That was shocking to me, from Jurassic Park. I still can't believe that. But I know he was older, and I know that he had cancer, but he beat it. But it's just crazy. He passed away. And then the girl from Godzilla King Kong, she just passed away, sadly. She was 18 in a car crash. She played one of the Tribe Girls in the Godzilla movies, the new ones with Godzilla and King Kong. So that was sad. Like, she was literally just starting out her adult life, and then she passed away at 18 in a car crash. So yeah, there's been a lot of celebrity deaths lately, and I feel like, you know, this is just the beginning. I feel there's more to come. So you have that. But and also I do predict that pretty soon, between now and August, I do predict either a earthquake or a hurricane or typhoon hits Mexico. So somewhere in Mexico for next between now and August. Okay. But guys, that's pretty much it for my predictions for August and a little bit of September and a little bit of October. So again, I'm just not seeing or feeling a lot of good things for August with the world, with, you know, the wars and other things as well. Just gotta be honest. But, you know, just continue to focus on yourself and stay positive and connect to God and to nature and to yourself and focus on yourself. Like for me, I've been taking breaks from YouTube and from the news because there's too much going on, too much, you know, too much negative energy. So I took a break, and it's good to do that sometimes. So even with me, I take breaks from just the world, from the Matrix, and it helps. But yeah, so just take care of yourself and don't stress too much about things. Focus on yourself. Well, I'm gonna recap everything. So for August, I predict gas prices will go up $5 to $6 and to $7 to $8 a gallon in some states. I predict that Donald Duck and his associates and peers and relatives, even children, are in a lot of danger. A lot of danger from different people, from the Iran, you know, war, Russia, other places. So they are in a lot of danger, and you can say he brought it. But you can say that he's brought it on himself and others. But yeah, they are in a lot of danger, and there could be more attacks happening. So beware of that. The next thing I predict is more attacks happening over here soon. T attacks. I mainly saw DC studios, NY, New York, Colorado, and the White Castle house. Okay, so I see these places possibly being locations where these T attacks happen. So guys, just protect yourself, protect your energy, and listen to yourself. Okay, so I see this happening for August, even parts of September as well. The next thing I predict is the nuclear explosion. So I see a nuclear explosion happening soon that will definitely change everything and shock people, shock the world. I see this happening in August. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully I'm wrong. But I see this happening. I feel it too. I've been feeling this for a while. I feel like this might happen. We might see a nuclear explosion like very soon, like next month. So I see this happening, a nuclear explosion happening in the Middle East that makes things worse. Okay. The next thing I predict is a storm, a hurricane forming in the Gulf next month. And I do predict a massive Category 4 or 5 hurricane in September that hits Florida, Georgia, Carolinas. Okay. And the next thing I predict is that Greenland could be invaded by the U.S. between August and October. Okay. And then I predict that America will invade or attack Cuba, and that will be the next conflict going on, you know, making things more amplified and worse, and, you know, making things just not so good. So the Cuba America conflict I see happening soon in August. I do see Florida having some threats. Okay, Cuba could have some threats towards Florida, like South Florida, so just be aware of that. And then the next thing I predict is that the UK and Poland will try, or they'll get involved in the Ukraine-Russia war, and that'll make things worse. And then US and NATO might be involved as well. I see this happening in August. And then I do predict that again, like the White Castle, the house, gets attacked, and then you got to move them from there to the other location in Florida. And then what else? That's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and then I predict that there will be like a earthquake or a typhoon in Mexico pretty soon, between now and August. And then also you have the solar eclipse on August 12th. Okay, so I did not want this video to be too long. I was hoping this video would be at least 20 minutes, but now it's like almost 40 minutes long. But I had to give you guys this message and just let you know what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing for next month, and also parts of September and October. But guys, watch my video. It's called Predictions from September through December. Watch my video called Watch This Before It's Too Late. And also watch my movie reviews, all right? The Odyssey review and others coming out soon that I plan on doing at some point. And yeah, protect yourself, protect your energy, because a whole lot going on. And the energy does feel weird. It does feel weird. Maybe it's because it's retrograde. You know, they did shut down CERN last month, and CERN was affecting us as well. So CERN shut down. And also, in the CERN logo, it shows 666. Okay? If you look at the CERN logo, it literally has 36. So you have that. Of course, the weather's been crazy with the heat wave. It's been like 112 degrees in Europe. 10,000 people have passed away in Europe from the heat wave. It's been hot over here in the US, Florida. Also, you have this explosive diarrhea. Guys, stay away from Taco Bell, from lettuce, unless you want to get the explosive diarrhea. You have this super explosive diarrhea going around, and I've heard that some people were on the toilet for like 2 hours. I'm like, no thank you. So yeah, you have that going around. the parasite from the lettuce across the country. So it's a lot going on right now. It's a whole lot. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. But the main things for August, man, is just that I see happening and I predict is Donald Duck is in a lot of danger. A lot. And I do feel like there's going to be more threats and attacks happening soon. And I do feel like there's going to be a nuclear explosion happening. And other things as well. So again, I'm in this video. Guys, again, today is July 23rd, 2026, the last day of retrograde, thank God. And let's see how things go going forward into August and the rest of the year. Time is going by so fast. Like the year's almost over. The year is like almost over pretty soon. School starts back in August. So let's see what happens. And if this stuff doesn't happen, if none of this happens, then that's good. Then that's good, you know. But it's just what I'm feeling, but it's given me by God. So I want to give you guys the message, okay? So, guys, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. All right? Stay cool, stay hydrated, protect yourself, protect your energy. This has been Elijah. I am out. Take care. Peace.